All right, welcome to Mostly Lifting Stuff. I'm Garrett Bondi.
What's going on? I'm Austin Gettner, and today is Mr. Jordan Craig, mechanical engineering major, so-called started lifting, and I'm quoting that with air fingers right now, in spring of 2016, right? Going into baseball season.
Yep.
And he, this is also a quote, did 135 by 5 back in the day, so we got a big boy right here.
Is that squat or bench or?
That was bench.
That was bench.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Also, occasional lifting partner of mine. Welcome. Glad to have you. So we know it's the new year. Everybody's kind of trying to refocus.
Yep.
And I know you're trying to get back on more consistent programming. So what is it like? What do you think the most important thing is for people that are trying to stay with something for like a long period of time to see progress?
As far as my personal experiences go, tracking what you're doing in the gym and just recording everything, having a set workout regimen and tracking everything that you do by far has been the best for me.
Garrett told me earlier you were doing that 531 program.
Yeah, that was that was probably the first one we did together, right?
I think so, yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I think. Go
you
ahead.
like that because you get to track your own numbers? Is that why?
Well, yeah, that's kind of any program, you track what you do, but with the 531, it's kind of you get to see progression in strength, but from what I've seen, it just helps your body too. You're not just, always power. I guess you're always kind of powerlifting, lifting heavy, but it's not as, doesn't hurt your body as much. You're not as sore all the time like you were on that, what was that other program we did?
On that 4-day full body split one.
Yeah, the full body one.
That was a nightmare.
Yeah, that was tough.
Well, I think the thing that a lot of people like about like a 5-3-1 like that, where you're doing like a 1-rep max and you're doing these maxes, is that you kind of have like a linear progression that you can see it. You can see the small changes every few weeks, which if you're not sure, like you want to be confident that you're making progress, that's a good thing to be able to see like frequently that you are making improvements. So I think that's kind of part of like the allure of that.
Yeah, and it's only 3 weeks. It's a 5-3-1, so you're retesting every 3 weeks versus when we were doing the full body program was a 10-week program. In order to see progress from the first time you did it, you have to do another 10 weeks, which is, I don't know, you don't see the progress right away, but it's there.
Right, but I think it's a little more like sustainable to try to do like a longer program where you're not maxing out as much, because I think if you max out too much, then you're gonna start hitting the limit, especially like training, without like the benefit of like taking drugs or like doing this other stuff. Like you're gonna have a hard time recovering from all these max outs. So I think like last year we kind of got burned out on it.
Well, yeah, I feel like we both hit a wall as well where we just couldn't bust through. So you got to change something up to bust through the wall.
Right, because I think we ran that program for probably like 3 or 4 months, and we saw a good like progress.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of that we were like just totally fatigued. But there's definitely something to be said for like sticking to a program, because I know like last semester with my lifting, I was doing like part of a program and I was kind of doing the rest on my own. And the days where I was able to like sit down and plan out what I was going to do, I felt like I got a lot more out of it, because if you have like a set number of like sets and reps you're going to do, you can choose weights that are going to challenge you with that. Where if you're just in the gym and you're like, yeah, let's go do some
this or that, and just moving around. Yeah,
let's go do cable curls.
Mm-hmm.
You'll do 3 or 4 sets, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to do something else. Where you might not have gotten as much out of it because you didn't have planned what you're going to do, and then you didn't necessarily choose weights that were going to challenge you with like a goal in mind.
Yeah, like you can do that. 1 week you go in with you don't know what you're gonna do, and you do the same thing the following week. Maybe you did cable curls with 45 pounds that week. Then you go in the gym next week and you're like, oh, 35 pounds feels like what I did last week. You're not helping yourself at all. You're just, if you do the same weight, same reps, you're going to eventually go up in weight versus doing something less.
Right. And I think, it depends how you train too. If you're it's okay to do less weight sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, if you're more sore. But you still got to, I think, if you tweak some of the other variables, you know, if you go with like a slower tempo or you do something like that, you can still get a lot out of it. But those days where I was just kind of like, I knew what muscle group I was training and like that was it.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for me to really feel like I got a good workout. You know, you're at the gym for like 2 hours and you're like, it's just something just it wasn't right.
You just went just to go. Like you didn't really get anything out of it. I definitely know what you're talking about. Right.
So we've kind of, me and Austin have just started a program. We're doing a power building program. And through the first like 6 weeks, we're training. That's considered like the bodybuilding type portion of it. But it also is looking to build strength through using like close grip bench and incline bench instead of flat bench. We do high bar squats, and then you do the opposite stance for your deadlift, which is kind of similar to the powerlifting program with that 4-day split where you kind of work those. But I think it's good to try to train the other stuff a little bit because, I mean, obviously there's a reason that we do things the way we do them. It's because that's how we're like the strongest.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good to challenge ourselves in that other way by doing things differently.
Well, I know personally I haven't done like decline press in so long. I can't remember the last time I've done that. And this is one of the things that you got to do, along with the incline barbell, which we were talking about today. Like, we just don't really like it, but it's something that we neglected. So it's kind of nice to be focusing on that now.
Right. And I think even going back all the way to high school, I think that's part of why I don't enjoy inclining is because we like never did.
Yeah.
And so when we did, it was like, man, we do a couple sets and it was like,
that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get caught up sometimes in trying to train our strength too much because that's what we're most comfortable doing and that's what we're confident with.
Yeah.
Where if we can train those weaknesses, our strengths will kind of move forward too.
Especially in high school, it was all about who's got the biggest bench. Like, no one really cared about anything else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was what numbers are you going to put up today? That was what was important.
Yeah.
There was pretty, not much as far as like seeing forward.
Narrow-minded and whatnot. Definitely. So how long are you going to do the 5-3-1 before you like switch to something else? Now, knowing that in the past it was like 3 or 4 months and you like plateaued.
I'll probably do 3 cycles through it and see how that goes. I mean, if I'm still, if I keep seeing improvements, I'd probably do it a 4th time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's all just how I feel and how it's going, I guess.
And I mean, you could even work like a deload in.
Yeah.
Where, maybe every 6 or 8 weeks or whatever, you do a certain number of cycles and then you take a week off. Because I think that was part of our problem is I think the first few weeks your technique gets more and more refined and you gain some strength and so you make weight jumps. But then once the increase in like improvement in your technique starts to kind of taper out, you get to a point where your technique becomes pretty sound. I think it's harder for you to make those jumps because it's just all about the strength and you're doing these things over and over again. Your CNS is kind of feeling, you get the bar in your hands and then it's just like those days where it just feels heavy.
Yeah.
Which I think is hard to avoid.
Yeah. I mean, back to the whole incline-decline thing. I remember that first summer that I started lifting after baseball season. I think Joey Moza told me that he didn't flat bench anymore and he was just doing incline-decline. So I did that for like 2 months. And I think that was like, it helped me significantly in the flat bench. I was like, that's amazing. Like, I didn't think that would help that much.
Yeah, definitely, like, making yourself uncomfortable at the gym isn't easy to do. And I think a lot of people who are just getting into it, they feel uncomfortable doing a lot of things. But that's really where you can kind of explore your weaknesses and kind of, like, iron things out.
Yeah, definitely.
So you do kind of like a powerlifting type of training. And do you ever see yourself like doing anything competitively, whether it's powerlifting or like trying to get into bodybuilding or anything like that?
I'd say probably not. I mean, I don't have the greatest diet to be like a bodybuilder. That would be tough for me with just working and school. I know you do it pretty well, but I don't know. It's just tough for me. And then I don't know. Powerlifting would be cool, but it just seems kind of difficult.
And I know like I've kind of looked into trying to get into like powerlifting before and like doing like competitions and stuff. And I think part of the problem is the people that we see doing things are like the spectacular.
Yeah.
And so we're like, all right, well, I just watched this guy that's 185 pounds, deadlift 715 pounds. And it's like, I'm 50 pounds more than this guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I do not do nearly what he does. So
There's no
why
point.
why should I deadlift or why should I, compete? It just seems like discouraging. But if you actually go and look at like the Michigan like powerlifting meets, it's a lot more like it would seem like more normal to us.
Okay.
Which I think that kind of is like eye-opening in a way because that's all you see when you like the people who are getting thousands and thousands of views are the freaks.
Exactly. They're just the freaks. So everyone's gonna see them, and then you're gonna see them, and it's just like looking at I don't know Kim Kardashian or Kendall Jenner. I don't know. Women look at them on Instagram and they're like, oh, like I'm not gonna look like that, but they're not even. They're just fake money and things like that.
Not
attractive.
attractive.
So it's just different. You know what I mean? If they're what?
I said they're not very attractive to me.
All right, Jordan, I like it.
It ain't my type of woman.
That's good.
What's your type? Wearing boots and duck hunting?
Well, I mean, that's a nice type.
So you talked a little bit about diet, and you said that's kind of like one of your like the most difficult
Yeah, like
area.
a weak
probably.
point. Yeah.
I think that's most people's like biggest struggle with fitness, and I know like for me, living in the dorms and like, when you're at home, when food is like put in front of you, that's the hardest thing.
You don't care.
Yeah, I heard somebody at work describe it as saying they said I'm like a dog. If it's in front of me, I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
And like that kind of resonated with me. It's like when I'm at home,
especially over the holidays.
Yeah, when I'm at home, there's like good cereal in the cupboards. There's good snacks. It's like you're just like, wow, this is awesome. It's like I've been eating chicken and rice and asparagus for like the last few months. It's like this looks like a good time. So it is easy to like fall into that trap and like partake in all the tasty stuff because it's right there.
Yeah.
And I know you go home quite a bit.
Yep.
And so you don't have like full control over what food you get.
Yeah.
Where like, I don't know, I guess I don't go home quite as much. So usually I'm kind of responsible for, I would say like at least 5 or 6 days a week of my meals where I have like good control over it.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be what I get at the grocery store. So if I go to the grocery store and I don't go hungry, which is always a good idea, to go when you're not starving because then everything looks good. But if I go then and I can pick and choose like what I want and get healthy stuff, it makes a big difference.
Do you cook a lot on your own, Jordan? Or do you usually bring like stuff from home every week?
I usually just cook on my own, I guess. I mean,
I'm just curious because you said that you do bad, and I didn't know because when I go home, I always bring like a week's worth of food back from home.
Okay, yeah, I don't do that. I usually, if I make food, it's here. It's not from home. Like I'll go shopping, and get decent food. I don't know. I guess.
I know you're trying to get more into like preparing food ahead of time.
Yeah, another one of my biggest problems is I go home on the weekends, and that's the best time to cook your food is on the weekends where you're not going to work, not going to school. And I usually come back either late Sunday night or in the morning on Mondays, and by then I'm back in the full swing of things with school and work.
So you don't have the time.
Don't have the time. The best time is
just
on the
don't want
weekends.
to. I understand that. Yeah.
Right. And I know like for me, especially when I was first like starting to get into like preparing my own food and like meal prepping, it takes a while. You kind of streamline it as you go, and like I've done it now for every week for like I don't know, a year and a half, and so I can whip out 10, 12 meals in like an hour and 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a big deal. I can get back from doing something Sunday night at 7:00. I'm done watching Sunday Night Football by 8:30. But if you're not used to it and you still are kind of figuring out like the order you should make things and how long to cook stuff and stuff like that, it kind of takes 2 hours, and then you got the big cleanup, and it just wears you down.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah. I know, like the first few times it was just like I just like dreaded it, but now it's like just kind of like a little chore where it's just like cleaning my room or cleaning a bathroom or something where you put a little bit of time into it and it pays off. So
yeah, I think the biggest thing for me right now is like I run out of ideas what to make. I mean, you just said that you had chicken and rice and rice and asparagus like every week or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I know that's not true. It's not every week, I'm sure, but in the same token, it's probably pretty often. Just because I don't really know what else to make that's like that good of a meal. You know what I mean?
Like a hearty meal that you get the good stuff out of.
Yeah. Luckily this year I shot a deer, so that
changed it up a little bit.
Gave me some variety there, mixing the venison in. But it definitely gets repetitive. And I think there's like two types of people when it comes to eating. There's the people that border on eating too much, and the people that border on not eating enough. And so for me, I'm definitely one of the people where I've always bordered on eating too much. Yeah. If I were to have like problems eating, it would be because I ate too much, not because I'm not eating enough.
Yeah.
And so for me, I can pretty much make the same thing, and I'll rotate vegetables and stuff. Maybe one week I'm doing, like last week I did broccoli and green beans. This week I'm doing green beans and asparagus. So just kind of mix it up a little bit. But like when it's time for me to eat, like I'm ready to eat. So it doesn't really matter what it is. But if you're one of those people that you border on not eating enough,
then it's gonna be a little bit different.
Then it's gonna be more difficult because you're like I'm really not that hungry. Why do I want to eat this again?
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of where you're coming from a little bit. And so I think it's tough. That's where you need to try to find more variety but I mean there are resources out there, but
yeah, definitely.
And it takes some trial and error to make stuff well.
Yeah.
And when you're eating it 5 times a week or something,
it's got to be halfway good.
It's got to be good, or else you're not. It's gonna be no bueno. So.
My biggest thing right now is I got a lot of sweets and stuff for my birthday and like Christmas. And so I'm like, I don't want to like throw it away. Like that's like some like.
I just eat it, man.
I know. It's like chocolate bars that someone bought for me. Like I'm not just gonna throw your money away. So I gotta eat it.
Yeah, definitely eat that.
Yeah. I definitely took like a lot of like my stocking stuff, like the snacky stuff. I got like sunflower seeds and other stuff like that, and I put it away in my room. And in April, when we go on our golf trip. Got my snacks and stuff all set. It's like
amazing.
Perfect.
That's actually a good idea.
And I left it at home, so I'm not like sitting drooling over it in the counter.
Until Patrick gets into it.
Oh no, he doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it. He's big, he's a big kid. But no, I think any time that you can make a change to improve your diet, even if it's just marginally,
is a nice change.
Yeah. I feel like some people think that meal prepping or cooking for yourself can be expensive too. But compared to going eating Subway every day or anything like that, it's not even close in comparison to price. Well, Subway is so much more expensive.
You can make like a meal, like 10 meals for like $1, like 70 a meal. I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's in that range because if you look at it,
and it's like a big meal though.
Yeah, it's a good meal.
Yeah.
You got, say you're going out to lunch, you're spending $8 to $10 a pop.
Yep.
And this is like, I see a lot of people on campus who they eat lunch on campus like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
So that's like $30 or $40 right there.
Yeah.
And my grocery bill is like $40, and I can tell you I eat a lot more and a lot better than a lot of those people do because you're getting the right stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just not 4 meals like they're buying. You're buying.
I'm making 10 meals.
3 meals for 6 days a week.
Yeah.
You're making 18 meals to their 4.
Right.
For the same amount of money.
Right. I'm doing 10 meal prep meals, and then I usually got some extra meat or something I can make something on the weekends, so I mix it up a little bit.
Yeah,
and I got
your
eggs and something to go with the eggs usually, and like for example, I think it's cheaper to shop healthy. Like this week, I go to the store, we buy our rice in bulk, so I didn't need rice or anything like that, and I buy a big thing of chicken, and I buy vegetables and like bananas and stuff like that. My grocery bill was $25 this week, and I'll eat like as much food as I can really, and then you throw in a protein shake or something like that, and that's it. So
yeah, no, I definitely think it can be way cheaper.
But I think
to buy your
people,
own food.
yeah, I think people try to go way too drastic with changes sometimes.
Yeah,
I think that's like the biggest thing. Like whether it's meal prep or like going to the gym or whatever, they're like, I'm gonna eat all this healthy food and I'm gonna go to the gym 5 times a week and I'm gonna not do I'm not gonna drink alcohol, and they're like, they have all these ideas which are for good things in their life.
but if you can't adhere to it,
Right.
then what's the point?
If it's not sustainable.
Not sustainable. That's the word I was thinking of.
Yeah. If you're gonna revert back in a couple weeks, like.
Yeah. At least if you started slower or smaller, or went to the gym 2 or 3 times a week and meal prepped like.
Well, I mean, first things
3 or
first.
4 days. You know what I mean?
If those are your resolutions, I mean, first thing is you gotta go to the gym, get that 5 days in. If that's what you want, I mean, then you can start eating better. But I mean, the first thing is you gotta go to the gym.
Well, that's kind of that's your approach.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's honestly like 60-40, like food to gym, as far as like being in shape and like being fit. But obviously, going to the gym consistently, like you say, you don't eat that well, but I'm willing to bet that you eat a lot better than a lot of people do.
That's true. I mean, I'm not one to eat a bag of potato chips. I can't tell you the last time I ate chips besides tortilla chips. And that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Like potato chips, that just strikes me as one of those foods that you should probably just stay away from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you see the food I eat and you're like, I'm not eating very good.
True. Very true.
But it's better than.
But it's better than
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
A lot of like the average guy that's just kind of trying to figure things out. And I mean, people try to overcomplicate it too.
Yeah.
I almost think it's like, I don't want to say funny, but it's like, it's just kind of strange to me. Like if you do the research into like macros, just like a little bit, and you get familiar with like what foods you're gonna get your fats, and what food you're gonna get your proteins, and like what food you're gonna get your like carbohydrates out of. I mean, you kind of got your foods that you're kind of like your go-tos, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I see a lot with like the holidays and stuff, and people like New Year's like stuff, like they'll go to the grocery store and they'll just buy like they'll have like a whole like basket full of fruit or something like that, and like fruit's like good for you in moderation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not gonna do
it's
everything
like,
for you.
If you look at the macros, it's like it's just mainly like it's mainly sugar. Like you are getting
people don't really eat fruit for like eating healthy.
Right, but I mean, like, it's a good way to get your carbohydrates in.
Yeah.
But drinking fruit smoothies isn't going to make you healthy.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not the whole puzzle. It's just a piece.
Like that, yeah.
You can use it as a tool. Like, I know I wanted to start eating better. I wanted to clean up my diet a little bit. I was kind of like bulking, I guess. I was trying to bulk.
Can't gain no weight.
Can't gain no weight. I kind of topped out at 227. That was my last. That was at the end of the holidays too, so I had a little bit extra help.
Yeah, we like that.
But yeah.
Do the dirty bulk.
Try not to be too dirty with it, but like with my breakfast food, instead of eating toast, maybe do a banana and like oatmeal. Mm-hmm. It's just like, what can you trade out to get like similar nutrients, or like similar like carbs, but get more like nutrients out of it. That's kind of what I was looking to do. So. I don't know. You gotta do something that works for you though, or else it's not gonna last.
Yep.
So you got no New Year's resolutions? I asked you yesterday.
I mean, not really.
Nothing you want to do better?
Get big.
I mean, yeah, but to get big.
Get bigger.
Bigger, yeah, bigger, whatever. Gotta get the bench up.
Gotta get the bench up.
Bench is tough for me. 265, 270.
That's the one thing I kind of like with the program that Austin and I are doing is after the bodybuilding section, you do a powerlifting section, but you start off with testing for your. They don't call it a 1 rep max though. They call it an everyday max.
Yeah.
So, basically the premise of it is, because it's kind of like a program built for like powerlifting type people who are gonna like might do competitions or something like that. But the premise of it is the everyday max is a number that you could hit if we went to the gym right now.
Yeah.
What could you squat? Not if it was a competition today and you were like
all
everything was all aligned and like
you're all geeked up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, like they say, you want, like the guy said, like you'd want to still get try to get your adrenaline going and stuff. But your everyday max should be a reasonable number that isn't, from the peak of a training cycle a year ago when you were at your best strength or something like that. It should be a number that is reasonable, because I think we get caught sometimes, and I think I did this too. I was struggling to hit numbers on my programming. My somewhat programming I was doing last semester, because I was doing my percentages relative to my all-time best, which at the time, because I was doing like longer workouts and not giving my body enough time to recover, because I was going to the gym like 6 days a week.
Yeah.
If I went into the gym, I'm not going to be able to hit that max.
Yeah, this is not realistic.
I'm trying to hit, like an example was deadlift.
Don't even get me started.
I was trying to hit. The one day I had 585 for 2x2, and I mean I almost passed out in the first set. And it was like, okay, because my max that was based on was not the same as what my current max was. Yeah. So I think it's kind of a good concept to train with that. Just like I think the RPE scale is good, like the rate of perceived exertion.
Yeah.
Where you pick, it's like 1 through 10, with 10 being that was the most you could do. 9 is you might have a rep or two left. Like, I think that's good too, because it kind of fits into
that everyday
right
max type of workout. Yeah.
And the other thing too is like RPE is nice, because if you go to the gym in the morning, if you go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, there's no saying that you can't get a really good workout in. But your strength isn't going to be anywhere near when you're lifting at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, when you got a couple good meals in you and you're fully awake and you're alert. And
yeah, you've been moving a little bit.
So it's kind of nice to be able to scale your training to like a given day.
Yeah. No, that was nice with that 10-week program. That RPE.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a well-designed program. I wish I would have taken more time off between starting it over again.
Yeah.
Because my lower back said, "Hey, I know what this is these first few weeks, and I don't really feel like doing that." So
yeah.
That was why I kind of got thrown off of it. But
it was a nightmare to start.
Yeah.
Those first few weeks.
Yeah, the high rep range of like 12, 3x12s
for squat and deadlift.
Especially if you're not smart. That's the other thing. Rest days are so important, and I need to be better about respecting them, because
instead of going to play basketball or something.
Well, active recovery is okay to a limit. If you go and play like 30 minutes of basketball, probably fine.
That's not how it works.
But if you go,
we're gonna be there for like 3 hours.
Yeah, you're gonna get some games in.
Yeah. If you go and you win a couple games and you're on the court for a while, and then some scrubs show up and you end up playing for like 2 hours, that's not good active recovery.
Yeah. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, but that was part of my problem too. Is I was like, I can hit these numbers any day I want. So, you know what? The first 2 days of this program, I'm gonna do them Sunday night and I'm gonna do them Monday at 2. And it was like, all right, well, you're going to bench and squat Sunday night, and then you're going to deadlift Monday. And my body was like, what are you doing? Like, this is a 4-day-a-week program, and you're putting the 2 hardest days back to back.
Yep.
Which I was better in the summer about respecting that, and I need to get back to where I am mindful of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's tough, too, because, we're kind of busy people. Or we like to be busy. I know I like to be busy. Yeah. So even if it is an off day, I'm like, well, I kind of just want to go and, I don't know, do arms or do abs or whatever.
That's what's tough about, having a week off or something. You're sitting around in your apartment and you're like...
And you feel lazy.
You're like, this is not normal for me to be doing nothing.
Right. And it's hard for us, like, even if we were to walk into a gym, to not want to challenge ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, with our current program, we don't do any of our, like, best lifts. And for, like, 6 weeks, that seemed like kind of a lot. So, like, yesterday I went in. I did 3x3s. I, like, did, like, light weights where there was not a doubt that I was going to be able to do 3 sets of 3 with it.
Mm.
But it was heavy enough where I could work on my form and I could feel like I was moving a little bit of weight, which was nice because I didn't feel like I have no, like, fatigue from it today where I feel sore.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was able to think through, like, the cues in my head, you know, like when I'm benching, you know, to keep my core tight and to, like, squeeze my pinkies on the bar and, like, the stuff that needs to be going through my head when I'm actually doing it.
Trying to get those.
That I might not be able to practice as much when I'm doing, like, a close grip or something when it's a kind of a different movement. So it was nice to be able to practice that.
Yeah, I was wondering what that 3x3 thing was.
Yeah.
I think it was last night or this morning I was typing in those numbers.
Yeah.
But, no, that's definitely, like you said, like we talked about today when we're working out, just about focusing on, like, a lot of little things when you're lifting, like, even in the bench, that I wasn't doing or, you know, haven't really done before. It's kind of hard to, like, start when you're trying to put up, you know, towards your higher percentage of your max, you know what I mean?
Right. When your program's saying, you know, hey, you got to hit this many reps at this percent today, and you want to work on something, you're kind of trapped. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely difficult to do that. But I think rest days are so important. I heard something the other day, and it said, like, building muscle isn't about how much weights you can lift and, like, how much you can do when you're at the gym. You build muscle when you recover. You know, that's...
Yeah.
When you're at the gym, you're breaking it down, so you can build it. But if you can't recover, you're not going to get anything out of it. You're not going to get as much out of it. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. Do you think in the time that you've been, like, lifting seriously at, like, Oakland, like, more seriously than, you know, high school and whatnot, that you've gotten I don't know, like, faster or been able to jump higher or anything like that?
I know for sure.
Because you played a lot of football and basketball.
Yeah, I know
baseball,
for sure I
so.
could jump higher.
Yeah.
Faster.
Rim test?
Rim test.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rim test. Basketball rim. But for quickness and whatnot, I don't know. I don't run when I'm at the gym, or I don't feel any faster. I mean, I'm obviously stronger. My legs are stronger than they've ever been, but I mean, it's not like I test.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious if you felt it, like, when you were sprinting on the court or something, you know, down trying to steal the ball or.
I think it is interesting, though. I mean, like, we go back and we'll go to basketball practices, and you see kids that were in our shoes, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, and you think, you know, you can kind of see the kids that are similar athletically to where we were.
Yeah.
And you can think about, like, where you're at now. And, like, it's funny. We were playing in the alumni scrimmage the other day. Austin gets a dunk. Everybody's freaking out. I'm sitting there. I'm like, he does this every time I play with him. Why are we freaking out?
Yeah.
This is an everyday thing. But 3 or 4 years ago,
that was a
huge deal.
Yeah.
So the people that only see us once a year or whatever, like, they think that's a big deal. Where for you now, like, dunking a basketball, it's like
not as big of a deal.
Right. But if you were to compare that to where you were at then, you'd be like, wow, I can jump out of the gym now. Holy crap. Like,
yeah. Well, that's why I was curious, because that's how I kind of felt, like, when I started lifting seriously, I felt like I could jump higher.
I know I can, yeah. Jumping higher, definitely I've noticed a difference.
Yeah.
I think running, too. I don't know.
I
feel faster. We don't really test speed and stuff like that. And
yeah.
When we did in high school, it was a little questionable, too, so it's hard to tell.
True.
Well, I think I've noticed it in, like, even, like, defending guys that I know I have no business. Like, I would have had no business in high school, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think now I've noticed that, like, that split-second quickness is a lot better than it was.
I think it'd be interesting, too, to see if you went back and you practiced with Oakland again. How you would feel. Because that was kind of, you were fresh out of high school.
Had no muscle on me.
If anybody doesn't know, Austin was on the Oakland practice team. Our freshman year, he walked on and was the only person selected from the walk-on tryout. and got to guard Kay Felder.
Which was a nightmare.
Now people in uniform get to guard Kay Felder because he's in jail. But
yeah, he's not in jail.
Oh, he's not in jail?
No, he's on Snapchat. I see him on Snapchat posting stories.
Well, hopefully you didn't hear that. He's not coming after me. But
yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
But anyways, Austin used to practice with them, and he got to guard some really explosive athletes. But I think it'd be interesting to see now if you could go back and see where you measure up.
Mm-hmm.
How you can measure up against those guys now versus back then.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably still get wrecked, but I don't think it would be as bad. I didn't really feel you. I mean, you probably figured it out. I just didn't really feel confident there, at all. Just because I was not athletic at all compared to those guys.
Well, it's tough to go from a school where you have 150 kids in your grade, and I mean, you were the tallest kid on our basketball team, and you were like 6'4" in high school, which
going
isn't
there,
that tall.
I was like the third shortest kid.
Right.
I mean? Yeah.
It definitely makes a difference in what you have to utilize. So.
No, that would be interesting, though.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be on the other side of the token about your tryout? Do you think you'd feel different about it?
I don't know if it'd make a difference.
Not to bring it up. I'm just saying, like...
Oh, that's a sore spot.
Yeah.
I don't hold grudges. Yeah, I actually do hold grudges. I hold a lot of grudges. And I tried out for baseball my freshman year. Didn't make it. I definitely think... Because I, still play softball and stuff. So I can see, I feel like I can throw the ball harder. I feel like I hit the ball farther. I feel like I can do a lot of things better.
Yeah.
At least comparatively through playing softball over the course of, the last 3 summers, it's like...
You've seen the difference.
Yeah, I can see it. So I figured it would translate to baseball.
That's
if
fair,
I were to. But, yeah.
We don't talk about it.
Definitely it keeps me motivated when I'm at the gym. Seeing people that said I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So... Well, do you have anything to leave the people with, Jordan? Any advice? Words of wisdom?
You got nothing, huh?
No.
Keep working hard, or...
Well, yeah,
get after
the
it,
basics.
or... The basics.
Write it all out. Write it out. What you're going to do. See what weights you did the previous week. Plan what you're going to do. I don't know if it's cardio or weights or whatever. Just... have a plan, stick to it, and challenge yourself through that, and make small changes that you can actually stick to.
I like it.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're going to say. I knew it was
I'm
coming.
sure it was. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for listening. We will have actually Caitlin Smith on the show next. Probably later this week.
Yep.
I think she can do more pull-ups than Jordan, but I guess that's...
She can do more than me, I'm pretty sure.
She does a lot.
She does a lot of pull-ups.
On Instagram, she does a lot of pull-ups.
So, if you're a girl and you're interested in doing pull-ups, I'm sure we'll have some good stories later on. So,
Yep.
All right, thank you.